could be a lot of stuff. And another thing is the dry condensers you get nowadays. I've had guys not open the valves and evacuate it. They charge it up, open the valves, and boom, they charge and they're gone. They didn't take the nitrogen out of the condenser.
Right, it will not function properly. But if you let the nitrogen in the system,
that'll give you high pressure, high subcooling.
Yes.
It won't cool very well. I've run across a system that was a year old.
That they didn't take the nitrogen out.
They didn't take the nitrogen out.
And what were the symptoms?
High head pressure, high subcooling.
Okay.
It was a TXV. I mean, it wasn't a TXV system. Charge it to get the superheat at that particular day.
So they factory charged the units with nitrogen to
the factory. They come pre-charged nitrogen.
So they come with a couple pounds in them of nitrogen.
More than a few pounds.
More than a few.
Yeah, probably over 100 pounds.
So that's what would make your head pressures go up because you're adding more refrigerants.
Well, it's a non-condensable. Okay. It won't condense to get out of the condenser. It stays in gas in the condenser.
Okay.
It doesn't condense to a liquid.
The refrigerator will tell you, their tech support will tell you, for one of their refrigerators, it's making like a knocking noise. They'll tell you add some nitrogen to the system because it's going to boost the pressure, but it doesn't do anything for cooling capacity.
Yeah, in that situation, it reduced the cooling capacity.
Right.
Because it's taking up condenser space.
Yeah. Right. So, they'll tell you to get rid of that knocking noise to put nitrogen in. My thing has always been to replace the evaporator and straighten out the capture.
Nitrogen, you're probably talking a very little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Refrigerators.
Yeah. I mean, it's just.
The problem is they don't tell techs how much to put in.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably just a burp.
Yeah.
It's just a burp to get it going. But usually the dry nitrogens that you can get, well, they're still available. They're 100 pounds of it.
Right.
If you don't take that out of there, sure, you could charge it up, get it going. And if it's a cool day, say 55, 60 degree day, it's cold in the house, that'll fool you sometimes. And you'll charge it up, get your superheat to what you think it is, and you're gone. Next 90 degree day, not cooling. That's when you most likely locate.
But each one of the condensers always has a tag on it. This unit is filled with dry nitrogen. You know, it must be removed before.
Yes, you gotta read all that stuff.
Read that tag.
Yeah.
You know, because you're not going to get a pre-charged R22 condenser unless it's been sitting in somebody's warehouse for a couple of years.
That's correct. That's correct.
They just don't make them anymore. So everything is filled with dry nitrogen now, unless it's a 410 system. They come pre-charged.
Yes. The thing out there is a lot of people are using a lot of aftermarket refrigerants.
Yeah.
MO99.
Yeah.
That's going to be lower pressures in R22.
The ACL. Oh, that's what you're talking about, right? The ACL 99.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
For MO99, because we're starting to use MO99.
It's cheaper.
Yeah. So like we changed the compressor, it's completely dead system. We're putting MO99 back in. Well, that's a refrigerant that you'll have to have a PT chart for that specific refrigerant to do your superheat and subcool. And I would imagine probably once they get it standardized, it'd probably come out with a chart. But you can get these for R22, 410A, the most popular ones.
I think I have one from one Goodman cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can get them for a couple bucks at Carrier. If you look at them, R22, R410A, non-TXV, superheat's going to be the same. The only thing that's going to mess you off is your pressure. But it's still, the superheat's still going to be determined the same way to get it. Pressure, temperature.
Nope.
Well, you got probably temperature, pressure, temperature.
Yeah, I was just seeing if they had that for that.
The 99.
Yeah, is that what you guys are using? Are you guys going to use that at all?
We will this year
You will?
once we run out of the rest of the 20. We still have probably 10 or 12 tanks of 22 left.
Well, MO99, it's close, it's like 8 pounds off. So like 50 PSI is like 32 degrees.
Oh, really? Okay, so it's real close.
Yeah, it's close. You're not supposed to mix it. If you mix it, you can still get it close enough, within a few degrees, and that there's never no issue. But if there's always that problem that just didn't work right, you can't get it to cool, and you were doing a superheat subcooling chuck, it would never come together.
Right.
It would not come together.
So that issue that would give you if you mix them is the evaporator would frost up?
Well, the pressure temperature is going to be different.
So
Okay.
You just wouldn't be able to figure out.
To get a good your superheat.
Yeah, your superheat wouldn't be, you couldn't get perfect.
You'd be at dead on number.
Yeah, you could be
You'd be guessing.
8 pounds off for, you know what I mean? Because it's 8 pounds, I think, below 120, and above 120 is 8 pounds high. It's close. When you look at R22 and you see 50 PSI in the gauge, that evaporator is going to freeze for R22.
Yeah.
50 degrees in MO99, it's not going to freeze because it's at 32 degrees.
8 pounds. You know,
Yeah, right. I didn't understand that.
It'd have to be-
Yeah, for the temperature,
Okay.
at a certain temperature, MO99 is 8 pounds lower than R22
Right.
for the same temperature.
At the same time.
You can't use it in every application. I mean, a big compressor, 7.5 ton with a sight glass, like a train or carrier, it's got the oil sight glass on it. You cannot use it without changing oil because of the bearing inside.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about the same weight. The manufacturer says plus or minus 5% of the
Okay.
factory charge, depending on what metering device you have. So they say start out 95% of the charge and you fine tune it from there. But it's not like you're gonna add 2 more pounds than what the factory charge is,
Right.
or 2 pounds less, or half a pound. I mean, you know, half a pound is a lot for in a 3-pound system or a 4-pound system. So it's going to be pretty close. So it's not going to be. I've had a guy come, one of our guys. Oh, you got to put 2 extra pounds in it.
95%.
Yeah, 95%. They usually say start at in the weight, and you can fine tune it from there on your superheat sub.
Now, do you weigh it in? Do you dial it in by
Yeah,
ounces?
I weigh it in
Yeah.
with the digital scale.
Yeah. that's
You know what I
what
mean? If it's completely empty, you know what I
Right.
mean. You're just weighing in.
Weigh it in.
You know, get it pretty close. MO99 has a little bit longer stabilization time compared to R22 and 410A.
Okay.
And it's very easy to overcharge it because you'll be sitting there like, oh yeah, I'm getting superheat, subcooling, this and that, and you're watching your gauge, and if you aren't watching the tank, I mean your scale, and you're watching superheat and subcooling, and the next thing you'll, or even if you're not weighing it in, if you're just adjusting the charge, you gotta wait, you put a little bit in at a time. You gotta let it stabilize because you can overcharge, it'll overcharge really easy. Because the blend, it takes a little longer to stabilize. I had some guys overcharge it very easily, not weighing it in, adjusting the charge and trying to do it by superheat. Next thing you know, whoop, you know, it's way off. Or they turn their back and come back and, wait a minute, I just had that set, you know?
Right.
How can I have 0 degree superheat? I just had 28 degrees. It just stabilized. That's the tricky part. It takes a little bit longer to stabilize, especially if you're not weighing it in. If you're just trying to adjust the charge, you got to do it a lot slower because you could overcharge it very easy. And it messes with you, so you have to take some refrigerant out, unfortunately. And that's going to be a liquid too, charge. I got a little chart I got from school where it gives you possible causes, and it's got like low superheat,
Like a flow chart kind of?
Yeah, it's sort of like a flow chart with up-down arrows.
Yeah,
you know what I
take
mean?
one, yeah.
And it kind of gives you an idea of what to look at. It doesn't give you specific numbers. If you know what's acceptable, okay, I got high superheat, low subcooling, low delta T, you know, and then it'll give you a list of what to look at.
Okay. Okay, yeah.
Is Hot Shot still giving me those PT charts with the cylinder that have the multiple refrigerants
Yes,
on it?
they used to. I haven't used Hot Shot in a while. You can they can give them to you at the counter. Allied, probably have to ask for them, but they'll just give them to you. I usually grab one from every store I get. Because not all PT charts has all the refrigerants on it. You can see MP39, MP66, 404. Some people use Hot Shot, some people use MO49, so it varies.
Is that the replacement for hot or?
MO49, it's for coolant refrigeration,
Hot shot replacement. Well,
low and medium.
I was gonna say that's the same.
Well, there's a lot of
concept.
different
10%
refrigerants
less.
that will place 12. It depends on what application, if it's low or medium temperature.
Okay.
So I think MO49, same manufacturer as the MO99, ISO, whatever it is, it's for medium and low. But like say MP66 is a low temp R12 replacement. MP36 is an R12 medium temp replacement.
Right.
And that would
So-
just be for like freezers,
Coolers,
regular
yeah.
refrigeration.
So you can
stuff like
have
that.
one refrigerant do
Okay.
both, cooler and freezer. You know what I mean?
You want the obviously the evaporator cold.
Yeah. See, yeah. You know,
I need to work with 409A and 408A.
yeah. Like 407C, I mean, that's out there, it's rare, I mean, it's medium temp, R22 replacement. It's comparable to the R22 pressures for a medium temp. But there's some 407C that someone's put out there in a cooler, and I'll carry it, I suck it out and throw something else in. MP39, MO49.